Wonderful people. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Are you aware there was such a thing as Second Amendment Sanctuary? You've probably noticed that we've been tiptoeing slowly into the realm of trust your firearm. Now, they're mentioning there are certain states best for firearm. And for instance, the one that I use is as an introduction to trust in firearm, specific to firearm trust. Let's speak about sanctuaries for Second Amendment. Just like there are safe harbors, tax havens, so and so, and other perks when it comes to trust. Specific to monies and trust, they have those things. But specific to firearm, that iron, a tool of war, there's an equivalence for that when it comes to trust matters. They're called Second Amendment Sanctuary. You see now the reason why I made those series of videos step by step leading up to this. And in other videos relating to trust and whatnot, the importance of firearm trust are loosely mentioned here and there. Second Amendment Sanctuary. Second Amendment Sanctuary refers to states, counties, or localities in the United States that have adopted laws or resolutions. Resolutions are basically house conversations about laws that have yet to be law, but they put into consideration. And resolutions don't necessarily, they don't expire, so to say. They can either say yes or no. And if they say no, it just sits there and they can bring it back up based on the 16 stages of how laws are made, which we've run over in this video. A non-binding resolution is a written motion adopted by a deliberative body that cannot progress into law. When it speaks about it being a motion, one have to comprehend that there are parliamentary procedures, which we spoke about the video regarding 16 stages. And the Patreon page was made relating to how parliamentary procedures used on a legislative level. It's the same way that motions are heard in court on a judicial level. The substance of the resolution can be anything that can normally be proposed as a motion, meaning to move an intent to be called into law. Basically, a resolution is the insemination of that sperm into the egg that gives birth to the child called law. Gun sanctuary refers to state, counties, or localities in the United States that have adopted laws or resolution to prohibit or impede the enforcement of certain gun control measures. Control is when someone tries to limit the type of weapon you can have, how much you can have, how much ammunition, and how the law of inheritance relating to it are passed. You know, people have firearm trust. And they pass it on to their children to the point where the amount of firearm in those trusts is no different than having an armory. People have these things. All these armories that you see as a reserve in some part of the town somewhere, all those are trusts on behalf of the state. You, the everyday man, can't do this. This is the reason why we went over all those stages of what a militia is. After we went over the caveat, then we're transitioning into this. Firearm regulation is the set of laws or policies that regulate the manufacture, sale, transfer, possession, modification, or use of firearm by civilians. Second Amendment sanctuaries are locations in North America that prohibits control. Meaning they're saying, all right, so you want to prevent our ability to create firearm, possess it, carry it, use it, etc. in all its varying degrees. Well, we'll create laws to say you can't do that. Did you know these actually exist? I'm telling you, the system is perfect. Only those who don't know about it will forever suffer. All these people that get arrested and they get their firearm taken for good. And then they penalize them for having a firearm because either they say, oh, you're a convicted felon or you're a prohibited person, or, well, you're not supposed to have it in this state. Do you know when you do that firearm trust and that firearm under any circumstance, whether it's through an investigatory stop, probable cause warrant, whatever it is, or they just stumble upon it across the street. However wild that circumstance may be, the moment they run that serial number, did you know that it will be on their record to return it back to you? They can't do anything with it, and they're mandated to return it back to you. See, all those things where people say you pay me this amount if you do this with my property, you can do that with a firearm trust just as much as you can do that with database injunction, just as much as you can do that with a child support injunction, just as much as you can do that with a probable cause injunction related to arrest. It refers to state, counties, or localities in the United States that have adopted laws or resolution to prohibit or impede the enforcement of certain gun control measures, which are perceived to violate the Second Amendment. Meaning, your ability to do these things are based on law. They're not speculations. And based on how you align yourself with it, it gives you an open door to enforce private contract and simultaneously protect the properties in effect. Second Amendment now gets paired up with the Fourth Amendment right to security of persons, papers, in effect. And also to the Ninth Amendment preservation of rights by the people. This system is perfect. You have to see it for you to get it, for you to then conclude that there's an importance in it, and that where everyone else suffers, you ought not to be one of those people. There are laws or resolution that prohibits or to prohibit or impede the enforcement of certain control measures, which are perceived to violate the Second Amendment, such as universal background checks, high capacity bans, assault weapon bans, red flag laws, etc. And by the way, when it comes to assault weapons, not qualifying for tax or being able to keep your bank account safe from other things like child support or whatever else people do these days to basically dig into people's pockets. We've shown videos relating to those when it comes to the 7 situs and 2 extra. When it comes to public entities like LLCs and not qualifying for making taxes and whatnot, we've shown in the Express Trust and LLC webinar. When it comes to firearms, Second Amendment, there are sanctuaries for them. And you would take it a step further by implementing that with trust issues. Nothing goes in this 21st century without the use of trust if you want the best protection, because this pen and paper thing are invincible strings that are used to complete 34-minute videos on the Patreon page. Remember, no one owes you anything. No one owes you time. No one owes you information. No one owes you explanation. If you seek certain things, then the victim mentality is not where it is. Until next time, take care. Best of luck.